Jonathan. That friend of yours, I'm not gonna say any names or anything, but you can make a pretty darn good living playing guitar, right?
You can do okay.
So he's a professional touring musician.
Of some sort.
And he gets, like, what's a ballpark on how much one of these guys makes when you're touring for like the big boys?
We're talking like huge.
The big boys.
Huge boys.
The huge boys.
Top of the food chain. And this is a friend of a friend, but apparently he made like $300K in rehearsals for a year.
So that doesn't count your touring and your recording and your residuals or any of that. So let's say you're making at least $500,000.
Let's say
that's $1 million.
If you're making 300,000, that was exaggerated greatly, and yes,
you're making $1 million though if you're making 300. So just an idea of like you can make it as a musician. I book bands all the time, just like for the local events here. They're getting $10,000 to $15,000 a night, sometimes even more, sometimes less. But these are pretty big, touring like tribute acts and whatnot though, like from all over the country. And they're great. They deserve it, in my opinion. I'm an advocate for musicians getting paid what I think they should get paid. So when people hire me to book for them, I inform them of that as well. I'm not here to drive down the price.
No.
I'm here to help. And
I've actually witnessed you drive up the price on yourself. No, we're going to pay you more than that because you're worth it, my gosh.
Because like, well, how much? Like, well, how about 4,000? I'm like, how about 5,000? Like, what do you, what? This is not the normal. I'm like, you won a Grammy. You deserve $5,000 for this. You're Grammy winning. You're not a tribute band. Like you deserve at least that. The tribute bands are getting 15 sometimes. Right. Anyway, I think we've reached. That's a side point. Like I do a lot of that for the love of just music and wanting musicians to get paid. But you can do so much of this yourself now. It's so much of it.
There's almost all of it.
Yeah, almost. There's a point though when you get to in your career where you do need that help. And where you need the management, the PR, and like the agents and like the tour managers. But there is a point where you do not need that. And we get a lot of young artists that come in here and like with these contracts from management firms and PR firms, like, hey, I got this record deal. It's not a record deal if they ask you to spend money.
If you're paying every month. Not a deal, it is a deal.
It's a deal for the agency. But these record deals I've seen, I remember these young cats, it's been happening for like forever. Like, hey man, we love your stuff, we're gonna sign you up. Here it is, you can record in our studio, it's gonna only cost this much, and we're gonna do this, and it's gonna cost this much for like when we put you out here, and the shows will be this, you gotta sell the tickets yourself for the shows.
By the way, you have to sell 50 a band member.
And if you don't, you have to pay this, but you're going to totally do it, no problem. But there's a lot of things you can do yourself now. Let's talk about PR.
There's this crazy thing called Instagram. It's really insane. It's new.
I know. And if you have like a Generation Z or Y or whatever, like it's somebody that works with you, that's who should be doing it. Someone young, preferably female. I don't want to like gender anything on this, but I'm like most people I know that do Instagram better are female.
That's really true.
Even if they're posting guitars or pictures of seals,
doesn't matter. Yeah,
like they just interact. They have the ability. Everyone I've seen that's been great at has been a young female that just knows how to crush it. It's neat to see, and it's different. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to bring this up later, but you're hinting at it. You can have a team without hiring a manager that you pay $1,200 a month. Like you can have friends who are, hey, I'm an artist. I want to get into doing this. And I'm not saying you don't compensate them in any way. Work it out. But you can be a.
I immediately went to here.
Right.
Here you go, man.
I don't know what he's talking about now. But it's possible to have people helping you and do these things without going out and hiring a management firm or.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like I've had managers before. I've had great managers. I've had bad managers back in my younger days, and you don't pay your manager unless the manager is making you money. That's like if you're hiring someone to manage you, that you're paying out of your pocket, and the managements take a percentage. They've created this new model. The same as like PRs. A lot of it's an echo chamber. Yeah. Hey, here's this review we just wrote on you in this guitar magazine, or this one magazine that's it's read in South Africa, and this one magazine those are that's 25 years ago technology. Right. That's just so when people Google you, your name will pop up in this thing maybe, and that's just not how young people find music though anymore. No. And I can speak of this because I am not a young person. I speak from the vacuum of far away. it's different. You don't.
It is much different.
It's so fun. Like, you know, even like Guitar World and like all this stuff. It's different than. Thank God they've modernized enough to like realize like print is dead.
Right. It's online. You know.
Online.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of times it is like there's advertising is mixed with, you know, paid sponsorships and paid advertising and paid articles are mixed with like, you know, true news stuff.
Actually, or reviews.
And then everybody sort of like we all feed off of each other in that world too. You know, like I'll look at Guitar World every day just to see what's new and popping. It helps us a lot when we're talking about like what's happening in the music world. It's fun. We look at all of them: Music Radar, Guitar World, Guitar News, Guitar.com. Like it's pretty cool, but it's weird to hire someone just to get that stuff out there sometimes when you can have a young savvy person do it for you.
And we're saying hire someone. A lot of times the people come to you, hey, I'd like to be your manager. It's only going to cost you X, right? Like that's the way I see it work.
Yeah, well, because I mean, I'll bring up Annelle again. Just like I think she's been courted by a lot of managers, and they don't want to pay like a fee. That I think they want a percentage because they see that she has generated a following and a revenue stream on Twitch.
And you're talking about getting into legit actual managers.
Yes, but I don't think she needs one.
Not yet.
Because she doesn't need one right now.
Right.
She is building a brand herself there.
Right.
I mean, you can even go back to like I don't know, like I'm back to the days of Dave Matthews and everything. Like he built his brand by touring colleges.
Yes.
And like crushing frats.
College radio, man. Yep.
And like and that's an old model. But like it's just funny. Like he didn't have management originally, and he just killed it. And then the labels like came sniffing and wanting him after he built a fan base across the country. You can do that from the comfort of your living room now.
It's true.
In your bedroom. It's a whole, you don't have to tour. A lot of musicians are making livings without leaving their rooms.
Yeah, we've talked about this on videos before about Twitch and things. So
yeah, so it's just an interesting, it's a different idea. Like you don't have to, you don't have to do the same old fashioned way. You know, it's now when do you need a manager?
I'm going to say when you get so busy that you can't play anymore, you know, and you have to reach that sort of critical mass, right? Where you just physically do not have hours in your day to do things, or the demand for you is so much that you can't answer it by yourself.
I agree. I think that's one of the huge parts now. I think having a manager from the beginning can be awesome if it's the right manager. And if it's someone who's not like pilfering you and stuff, and if it's a friend, I think it's actually really good.
That's a bit of a different scenario.
I do love seeing that, like when it's like, hey man, I'm super into music. I think you're so talented. I want to manage Jonathan. That's not true. I don't want to manage Jonathan at all. And I don't think he's that talented either. But
unmanageable, right?
Unmanageable. No, but that's just hypothetically. I mean, like that's what you want. You want someone that's just hurting. Like, man, I'm so into this. I'm willing to invest my time and energy and money into you, hopefully for a payout down the road.
Sure.
You know, but hopefully that person who's doing this has good ideas, has modern ideas, and is pivoting you in the right way.
And there are artists, to be fair, that are they're not good. They want to be creative and make music, and that's it. I've played for some of those guys where
they need a management firm.
They're just free spirit, you know, wandering troubadour, would be sort of semi-homeless, you know, with guitars that barely work, but they just want to, that's what they want to do. And then,
there's this someone cat, that cat in Fayetteville, Raya. You know what I'm talking about?
I do know who you're talking about.
He shaved his head, but he used to have like red, crazy curly hair or something. That dude's talented as piss, you know, like in a good way. I was trying to think of a word. I was going to say gaznogglesnocks or something.
Whatever.
That's not a real word. I'm going to say piss. No, he's a talented dude, man. And he just needs management or something.
He just needs someone to.
Because he's a weird cat too. But I was like, man, I met him. I was like, that dude's got the goods, and he's weird. I like the weirdness.
Yeah,
and I don't want the weirdness to have to be like pilfered down to like him being on social media and like just like, oh yeah, how you doing, man? Cool, bro. I'll see you on the show Friday.
Because the downside of doing all those things yourself is it can be a creativity killer.
Or just a cool killer too.
A cool killer.
It does sort of create. But what is cool? I don't know what cool is anymore. Because my idea of cool rock star is not what a rock star might be today.
Well, rock star used to be like sort of separate, right? And like this mythical thing on a pedestal. And now we know what underwear John Mayer wears, and like, you know, we can have his Casio watch, and it's a little different.
That's kind of funny that we know his underwear. Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking about Bob Dylan. I mean, the Bob Dylan would play an acoustic guitar, have a harmonica and sunglasses, and that dude was a rock star.
It's true.
And like he just wrote he's just like, it's like he's just cool.
Yeah.
He's a rock star. I mean, I guess look at Phineas is kind of a rock star, but you know, is it pop? I don't know. But it's like Phineas is a little bit weird and obtuse, which I appreciate. I actually like Phineas's music quite a bit. That one with everybody falls into LA in the ocean. I like that song. It makes me happy. But no, it's weird. Like there's this, you don't be paying for a lot of this stuff. It's out there. It's free. We do live in a golden age. You can record everything yourself. You don't need to go into a fancy studio necessarily. Like the days of like needing that is not. It's been gone for a long time, right?
I mean, yes.
You need a good DAW interface and a good mic, and some good set of ears, and some patience.
And some patience to learn how to,
And if not, a friend that knows how to do it. And if a friend knows how to do it, you and your friend can like do it together, man. But I remember back in the days, like even like when the first Strokes album came out, it was recorded in a room very similar to this room.
Right.
It was a long rectangle, couple hot rod Fender amps, basic Strats, nothing fancy. That album still holds the test of time. This is it. It's a phenomenal record. Great producer. I mean, that's different. He had Gordon Raphael, magician, put a sauce on it. But that was sort of almost a do-it-yourself type of thing. It wasn't done in like where Beyonce records,
right?
Or like or like the top like Sony room or whatever. It was like it was in a basement in the city, New York. Like in a room, like a square, like a rectangle room, not what you should record in anyway. It's just there's so much you can do yourself.
There's so, and even if you don't feel like you can do it yourself, there are so many. Like even here in our relatively small little sphere, I can think of a couple guys who are great engineers. They know what they're doing. It's not some fancy studio that you go to Charlotte or Atlanta or wherever for. But for a really decent price, you can make a really good product.
Yes, it's weird to call it a product. But I guess that's what it is.
It is a product.
You're selling something eventually. I don't know. I still think of like, and don't be afraid as an artist right now. Don't be afraid to be creative. Like I know it seems like a silly thing to say.
Crazy.
No, but a lot of times like you meet all these young cats coming like, I'm going to do this because it sounds like this and this is what it's supposed to be. Like just do it, man.
Just do what you do.
I mean, the best music comes out of like craziness. I think I love that. Unless you're writing typical Nashville singer-songwriter stuff, make sure the bars and everything line up and it's formulated. It makes it a lot easier, especially when you're having musicians come in. That saves time and energy. But yeah, it's a golden age, I think, for doing so much of this yourself.
It's true.
And then thank God, I think stuff's starting to open up again.
It is starting to.
Tours are going to be getting announced. Like all these huge tours are getting announced. All the small tours. I'm excited for both.
Christian and I were talking yesterday about how cool it would be to go to a huge concert, pay $15 for a can of Miller Lite.
I'm gonna do the same thing.
Just yeah.
I mean, yeah. I've got 2 huge concerts I'm already planning on going to go see. Like it's next 2022.
There you go.
When they announce, we'll be at Wilkesboro and Merle Fest. That's a fun little festival, bluegrass festival coming up in September, I think.
I think it is in September this year.
That should be fun. That's normally in April, but they've switched it because of COVID. But that's all. Let us know what you think. Like in your experiences with the good and bad management, good and bad PR. Like I've definitely had some bad management in my days and some great management in PR too.
Yeah.
Carrie Black, I'll just never forget her. She was such a wonderful soul, beautiful creature. Love her to death. The other ones, not so much. That's it. I won't say names on negative, but that girl, man, she awesome. Looked just like Winona Ryder and Beetlejuice too.
Ooh.
Amazing.
There you go.
But age appropriate.
Age appropriate.
Yes. No, wonderful person. Wonderful. She crushed her business world. That's all. But yeah, so let us know your experiences.
Yep. We want to hear about them. Tell us what you think. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you don't miss videos in the future. We'll see you next time.